Two price tags. One says $1,699, and it's attached to the computerized telescope sitting at the top of every best telescope for beginners list from the past 5 years. The other says $649. Same size mirror. 8 inches of aperture on both, which means the same Saturn and the same Orion Nebula waiting at the eyepiece. Stick around because the expensive one is the single biggest reason first telescopes end up in a closet by spring. And if you'd rather learn this here than the $1,700 way, subscribing is free and takes about 2 seconds. So how does one telescope win every list? Follow the money. Most best of articles run on affiliate links, which means the writer gets a cut of whatever you buy after clicking. Usually 3 to 5%. 3% of $1,699 is about $51. 3% of $649 is about $19. Spread that gap across 10,000 readers a month, and the ranking writes itself. Here's the other half of it. A lot of these reviewers have never stood in a cold backyard at 2 a.m. with the thing they're recommending. They rank spec sheets. And on a spec sheet, computerized go to mount with a database of 40,000 objects beats wooden box that swivels every single time. In the backyard, it's usually the other way around. Because one spec decides what you see. Aperture. The diameter of the mirror, nothing else. Aperture sets how much light the telescope collects, and light is the whole game. A faint galaxy doesn't care about your hand controller. It only cares whether your mirror catches enough photons to register in your eyeball. Both of these telescopes carry an 8-inch mirror, so Saturn looks identical in both, and so does that fuzzy spiral of Andromeda, which means the extra $1,000 buys you a motorized arm and a keypad. That's the whole difference. You're paying $1,000 for a robot to point the tube, and the view at the end of all that pointing hasn't improved by a single photon. Now let me tell you how a night with the robot actually goes. Every session, before you can look at anything, the computerized scope demands an alignment routine. Power on. Level it. Slew to 2 or 3 bright stars, center each one, confirm, and hope the computer accepts it. On a good night, that's 10 minutes. On a bad night with dew on the finder or a tree blocking your alignment star, it's 30, and you still haven't seen one object. The mount eats 8 AA batteries or wants an external power tank, and cold air drains both fast. And that single-arm mount shakes. One breeze, one bumped tripod leg, and the image at high power dances so badly you can't focus. So new owners do their own math. Setup is a chore, the view isn't better than they hoped, and it's 28 degrees out there. They go out 4 times, then it's April, and the scope lives in the closet next to the bread maker. Don't take my word for it. Search eBay for these computerized scopes and count how many listings say used twice or like new, no time for hobby. That's a graveyard. Every headstone costs somebody $1,700. Before you swing hard the other way, the cheap end of the aisle has its own trap. You've seen it at the department store around Christmas. A long, skinny refractor in a refrigerator-sized box with 675 times magnification printed on the side in flame letters. That number is a LIE you can check with 5th grade math. Useful magnification tops out around 50 times per inch of aperture. That scope has a 60mm lens, about 2 1/3 inches, so its real ceiling is roughly 120 times. Push past that and you're magnifying a dim blur into a bigger, dimmer blur. The tripod is basically aluminum foil. The eyepieces are plastic. Saturn shows up as a shaky white dot, and the kid who unwrapped the box never asks for a telescope again. These things have killed more future astronomers than cloudy weather ever did. Quick pause so you know how this channel works. No telescope company pays me, and nobody shipped me a review unit with a wink attached. While you're here, drop a comment with your first telescope and whether it still gets used. I read those, and honestly, they're better data than any review site. Now, 4 checks that make you impossible to upsell. First, aperture in inches. It's the first number to find on any box, and everything else orbits it. Second, mount stability. Tap the tube at the store. If the wobble takes 3 seconds to settle, walk away, because at 200 times, that wobble is an earthquake. Third, cost per inch of aperture. The $1,699 scope runs about $212 per inch. The $649 scope runs $81 per inch. Same glass, same sky. Fourth, check whether the included eyepieces are glass or junk. Real glass eyepieces, usually labeled Plossl, tell you the maker spent money where it counts. Plastic lenses tell you what else got cut. So what should a first telescope actually be? A plain 8-inch Dobsonian. A big tube with a mirror at the bottom, resting in a wooden box that swivels. That's the whole machine. John Dobson worked it out in the 1960s with plywood and porthole glass, and 60 years later, nobody has beaten it on price per photon. Here's night one with a $649 Dob. Saturn's rings, clearly split from the planet, with the Cassini division, the black gap in the rings, visible when the air is steady. Jupiter with cloud bands and 4 moons strung out in a line. The Orion Nebula glowing gray-green around a cluster of newborn stars. Andromeda, an entire galaxy 2.5 million light-years away, sitting in your eyepiece for less than a used iPhone. But the setup is the real reason Dob owners are still out there in year 5. Carry the base out, drop the tube on it, look up. 2 minutes, no batteries, nothing to align. When a look at the sky costs 2 minutes, you do it on a random Tuesday. When it costs 40, you don't do it at all. That difference is the entire hobby. And if you're not even sure the hobby is for you yet, go cheaper still. A pair of 10x50 binoculars costing $60, plus a free phone app like Stellarium, will teach you the sky better than any motor ever could. From a dark sight, those binoculars show Jupiter's moons, big star clusters, even Andromeda. Better yet, they force you to learn where things actually are, which is the exact skill the hand controller was selling you permission to skip. Here's the part nobody tells beginners. Every serious observer I've ever met still owns a pair of 10x50 binoculars and still reaches for them. It's the one purchase in this hobby nobody regrets. One honest exception before the comments come for me. If your real goal is astrophotography, everything I just said flips. A camera needs the telescope to track the sky's rotation smoothly for minutes at a stretch, and for that, a motorized mount stops being a gimmick and becomes mandatory. But real astrophotography starts around $3,000 once you add a proper equatorial mount, a camera, and guiding gear. It's honestly a different hobby. More laptop than lawn chair. Problem is, the salesman never asks which hobby you're in. He hears telescope, sees your credit card, and points at the one with the motor. So here's what I want you to take home. The best telescope is the one that leaves the house. An 8-inch Dob leaves the house because it takes 2 minutes and never argues with you. And the $1,000 you didn't spend on a hand controller, that's gas money to dark skies for the next 5 years, and a dark sky does more for the view than any electronics ever built. Tell me in the comments which scope you own and how many nights it actually got used this past year. Be honest, the number is usually smaller than we'd like to admit, and if this video just saved you from a 4-figure regret, a subscribe is a pretty fair trade.